Imagine waking up one morning with a quiet but unsettling realization that much of what you have been taught to value, to desire, and even to believe about yourself was not chosen by you. It was shaped slowly, subtly, by society. Pause for a moment. Sit with that thought. How much of your life is truly yours? And how much of it is the result of an invisible narrative designed to keep you busy, distracted, and obedient? In this video, we're going to uncover what can only be called the great deception of modern society. And I promise you this, the final realization will be the most powerful of all, one that can fundamentally change how you understand your life, your freedom, and your place in the world. But before we go further, I ask you to support this channel. Subscribe, leave a like, share this message, and comment your thoughts as we move forward. Because what you are about to hear may resonate deeply, and I want to know how it touches your life. Remember this, what we uncover today can change not only how you see the world, but how you see yourself. Now, let us begin. Modern society likes to think of itself as enlightened, advanced, and free. We live in an age of extraordinary technology, instant communication, and endless entertainment. Yet, beneath this polished surface lies a powerful illusion. The French philosopher Jean Baudrillard argued that modern culture no longer deals in reality itself, but in simulations of reality. We consume images, symbols, and narratives that claim to represent truth, but in fact replace it. What we experience is not reality, but a carefully curated spectacle. Think about the news you consume, the advertisements you see, the ideals of success placed before you every single day. How often do these truly reflect your deepest values? And how often do they quietly tell you what to want, what to fear, and who you should become? This is the first layer of the deception, the belief that the world presented to you is the real one. In truth, much of it is constructed. And the more deeply we immerse ourselves in it, the further we drift from our authentic selves. The psychologist Erich Fromm, in his book Escape from Freedom, warned that when faced with the responsibility of true freedom, many people unconsciously choose to surrender it. He observed that modern individuals often confuse conformity with freedom. We are told we are free because we can choose between countless products, endless entertainment, and unlimited distractions. But is that real freedom? Or is it the illusion of choice, keeping us too occupied to ask deeper questions about meaning, purpose, and truth? Reflect honestly for a moment. How many goals have you pursued simply because society told you they were valuable? A certain career, a lifestyle, a symbol of success. And when you achieved them, did they truly fulfill you? Or did the satisfaction fade quickly, leaving you searching again, like someone chasing a mirage in the desert? This cycle of desire and dissatisfaction is one of the most effective tools of control in modern life. It keeps people striving without ever arriving, wanting without ever being fulfilled. Friedrich Nietzsche warned sharply against living by the values of the herd. He believed most people do not create their own values, but inherit them unconsciously from society. This, he argued, leads to lives of mediocrity, half-truths, and spiritual decay. Nietzsche's challenge was radical. Question everything society has handed you and take on the painful but liberating task of forging your own path. But how many people truly dare to do that? The deception deepens when it begins to shape not just what we want, but how we see ourselves. In modern culture, self-worth is measured by external markers: income, appearance, productivity, social status, followers. These are not natural measures of human dignity. They are manufactured standards designed to keep people comparing, striving, and consuming endlessly. And the more we internalize them, the more we forget our intrinsic worth as conscious beings. Ask yourself this, honestly. Who would you be if society's labels were stripped away? If no one defined success for you? If your worth was not tied to money, appearance, or status? That question cuts directly to the heart of the deception. Because at its core, this is not just about controlling your choices, it is about controlling your identity. Carl Jung once observed that the greatest tragedy of modern humanity is the loss of contact with the soul. In our pursuit of progress, efficiency, and material success, we have neglected the inner life. Jung believed this disconnection leads inevitably to anxiety, emptiness, and despair. We live with more comfort than any generation before us, yet psychological suffering continues to rise. Why? Because comfort without meaning is empty. Distraction without depth only numbs us temporarily. This is why so many people feel a quiet unease, a sense that something essential is missing, even when everything looks fine on the surface. It is the soul's silent rebellion. To see through the deception is not to become cynical. It is to awaken. It is to realize that the stories surrounding you are not absolute truths, but narratives, and narratives can be rewritten. The great thinkers of history left us the same challenge. Do not merely accept the life society hands you. Seek the deeper truth, the one that resonates not with the noise outside, but with the quiet reality within. And this is only the beginning. When we peel back the layers further, we discover that the deception is not just cultural, but structural. Modern society defines value almost entirely in economic terms. Human worth becomes tied to productivity. Time becomes a commodity. Existence itself becomes something to optimize. This reduction of life to economics is deeply dehumanizing. Karl Marx, often misunderstood, warned about this exact problem. He described how people become alienated from their labor, from one another, and ultimately from themselves. Human creativity is extracted, packaged, and sold back to us as commodities. How many people today feel like replaceable parts in a machine, giving their energy to systems that leave them exhausted, disconnected, and unfulfilled? Even education, which could awaken curiosity and creativity, often reinforces conformity. Children are trained to obey, to memorize, to compete, not to question or explore. Sir Ken Robinson famously argued that modern education systems suppress creativity, not intentionally, but structurally, by prioritizing efficiency over imagination. By adulthood, many of us have learned to equate obedience with success. How many dreams were abandoned, not because they were impossible, but because they were deemed impractical? These are not accidents. They are outcomes of a system that values conformity over authenticity. The media plays its role as well. Noam Chomsky described how media manufactures consent, not through outright lies, but through selective attention. What is shown and what is ignored shapes perception itself. People feel free because they can choose, but the menu of choices has already been decided. Ask yourself, how many of your beliefs were deeply examined, and how many were absorbed through repetition. Technology, too, has become a subtle instrument of control. Philosopher Byung-Chul Han warned that modern power no longer dominates through force, but through seduction. Social media does not imprison you, it hooks you. Attention becomes fragmented. Silence becomes unbearable. Presence is replaced by stimulation. We confuse constant connection with real connection, and in doing so, we become lonelier than ever. So why are anxiety, burnout, and depression rising in societies that appear materially successful? Because a life built on illusion cannot nourish the soul. But here is the turning point. The discomfort you feel, the emptiness, the questioning, that is not weakness. It is evidence that something within you is still alive. You were not born to be merely a consumer, a producer, or a number. You were born to awaken. The deepest deception is internal. Society shapes identity itself. From birth, we are handed scripts for success, beauty, happiness. Carl Jung called the mask we wear the persona, necessary but dangerous when mistaken for the true self. How much of your life feels like performance? How often do you silence your truth to meet expectations? Most people never meet their real selves. Abraham Maslow warned that self-actualization, the fulfillment of one's potential, is rare not because it is unreachable, but because society keeps us trapped in fear, approval, and security. A society of self-aware individuals would be difficult to control, which is why distraction thrives. Viktor Frankl taught that the deepest human suffering is not hardship, but meaninglessness. We do not survive on comfort alone, we survive on meaning. Ask yourself, is your meaning inherited or discovered? Blaise Pascal once wrote that humanity's problems stem from our inability to sit quietly alone. In a world addicted to noise, silence becomes revolutionary. Eventually, the illusion cracks. A crisis, a loss, a confrontation with mortality. Martin Heidegger believed that facing death strips life of illusion and reveals what truly matters. So ask yourself, if today were your last day, would you feel you lived truthfully? And now we arrive at the final revelation. You are not powerless. The greatest deception is convincing you that you are. History is shaped by individuals who refused to remain asleep. Socrates, Buddha, Jesus, not gods, but awakened humans. As Ralph Waldo Emerson said, to be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Awakening begins with awareness, then inner authority, then responsibility, then connection to something greater than the self. No matter how deep the deception, the truth within you remains untouched. That spark cannot be destroyed. And the moment you listen to it, you begin to break free. So I leave you with this. The most radical act in a world of illusions is to live as your true self. If this journey resonated, share your thoughts below. Which illusion did you recognize in your own life? Awakening grows stronger when we seek truth together. Thank you for listening. Like, share, subscribe.